everybody. This is Patrick from Prohibition Productions, and today I'm going to be making risotto with bacon and mushroom and using a homemade chicken stock. I've become a big fan of making my own chicken stock recently. You can just use a lot of things that are in the fridge that are just not being used and make a chicken stock that's way better than what you can get in the store. And I also love risotto, and this recipe originally comes from my friend Giacomo, who was a ballet dancer I knew at the Berlin Staatsballett, and he's originally from Venice, so this is a family recipe that then I sort of had to adapt a little bit for the ingredients I could find here in the States. But it was way less complicated than I realized, and it's been fantastic. So let's get started with the chicken stock. First, get a big pot. I made an extra large portion this time, so I used 14 cups of water. And then you throw in the chicken, which is really just the leftover bones and things from a rotisserie chicken I had bought the week before and had already eaten through. And then I add a large onion, several cloves of garlic, and then anything else in the fridge that you might want to get rid of before it goes bad, like tomatoes or carrots or mushrooms. You can also use celery, ginger. Cut that up, throw that in there. It can be coarsely cut. Then we add some spices. Salt is the most important. Then pepper, basil. I usually add bay leaves, fennel seeds, oregano, rosemary, thyme, tarragon. Also a little bit of brown sugar, and then a hint of cayenne, cumin, nutmeg, and cloves. I really like a zesty, flavorful chicken stock. Then you cover it, let it cook for about an hour. Then you come back, taste it. Any other spices you need to add or adjust, usually salt is the most important thing to check for. Cover it again, let it simmer for another hour. Give it a taste. If it's good to go, you're all set. If you need to add anything else, let it cook for a little bit longer, maybe a half an hour. And then when it's done, you need to strain it, get rid of all the floating parts and bones and things like that. I usually separate part of it to freeze and then the other part for the risotto. I need about 6 cups for the risotto. And you put that in a small pot off to the side. So to get started on the risotto, you start with about a half pound or a little bit more of thick cut bacon. I get mine from Fico's down in the village, and once that's nice and crispy, set it aside. Then in a good sized soup pan, saute several cloves of garlic and onion in olive oil. When that's nice and golden, you add some chopped mushrooms and then throw in a little bit of bacon grease. Time to spice it with some salt, pepper, oregano, and thyme. Then crumble up the bacon, toss that in, as well as a little bit of brown sugar. Saute everything till it gets nice and amalgamated. This whole process takes about 25 minutes from when you start with the onion and garlic to this point. Now it's time to add the rice. I usually use about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of arborio rice, and then you pour it into the mixture and you have to really mix it in. And what you're looking for is each grain to have a white eye in the middle and a little translucent on the edges. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Then you have 1 cup of white wine. It's important that it's kind of warm. I usually put it in the microwave for about 20-30 seconds because you don't want to startle the rice with too much cold wine. So you pour that in, let that cook down, give it a minute or two, and now you're ready for adding chicken stock. Our chicken stock is here off to the side. What you want to do is ladle in every 4 or 5 minutes. You want to keep it soupy. You want to keep mixing it in between and let it cook for a few minutes. Then when it needs a little bit more, put in another ladle. This process maybe takes a half hour or so. Once it starts to get al dente and it's almost ready, put in your last ladle, let it cook down to the consistency that you need, because it's basically what you want it to look like on the plate. Not too liquidy, not too dry, a little bit al dente. Then garnish it, a little salt, pepper, pecorino romano, cheese. I'm particularly fond of locatelli, and enjoy.